Hello, hello, hello there. Marcus BC of DasGooch here, and I have a very, very special guest today. He's come on the show before, and you know him, I know him as Fairy Slayer. Fairy Slayer, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you?
Well, it's been a good day actually. Watch some football, soccer for Americans. Wrote some stuff, read some stuff, and now we're gonna talk about the stuff that I just read because boy, goddamn, goddamn, did I just read something quite. Uh, is the word I want to use disturbing? I'm not gonna say disturbing because I'm kind of used to this shit by now, but it was.
Dark.
Yeah, we're gonna go with interesting. Okay. Today, guys, we're gonna be talking about a story called Ashley's Secret. It is a Recess fan fiction. Recess being a cartoon that aired in the early 2000s or late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say. Yeah, and it's by a known erotica writer, Evil Fairy. I mean, she's known within the world of adult fan fiction, WWOEC. She is very good, very dark, very dark.
And very awesome.
Very, very awesome. All right, so let us discuss. Let us discuss, Barry. Let us discuss this story. Whew. Boy, the story involves one of the main characters from the show, that being Spinelli, or Ashley Spinelli, as her full name is. And Ashley is very much so a tomboy. Very much so a tomboy. This is obvious that she's kind of boyish. And, I take it, this story involves, it doesn't really go into much like, depths of her, I want to say her personality. I mean, his personality is shown, but it doesn't really go into too much depths. It kind of like, blindsides her. It's not something it's basically she's in her own little world doing a little drawing, and she's blindsided by an event that she overhears, and she spies on the event. And I don't want to ruin the story, but you know what I mean, right?
Oh, yes. It was quite a shock to her and quite a shock to the readers, but pleasantly so, I suppose.
Yes, very pleasant. Basically, she sees something that at first she's quite appalled at. It's horrible what she sees. She sees the Ashleys, which are a bunch of girls, like I think it's 5 girls, all with the first name Ashley, because I guess that's just what Recess is all about. And
What
they basically cornered and are bullying this girl known as Cornchip Girl. And Cornchip Girl is a third grader? Yeah, she's a third grader. She cries a lot, and I guess she eats corn chips, which is why her name is Cornchip Girl. And without going into too much detail, because I don't really want to ruin it without ruin the whole thing, but basically they're really not being very nice to Cornchip Girl, are they, Fairy?
Oh, no, they're being quite mean to her and really taking advantage of her to make her cry as much as to pleasure themselves. Probably more so to make her upset than to enjoy that than any pleasure of their, direct pleasure on themselves, at least at first.
Oh yeah, because we all know, young teenage girls or preteen girls love making other girls cry. Other girls and boys cry at their own amusement. Do they love doing that shit? And I feel like Evil Fairy does this well. She adds realism to the fact that this happened. This shit kind of, I mean, maybe not this specific shit, but this kind of shit happens all the time. People like to think that boys are like the biggest bullies in school, but not when it comes to girls getting bullied. When girls get bullied, they get bullied hard. I mean, it's an emotional torture.
Oh, yeah, they're bullied so hard to make sure that they remember it and they stay in their place. I think that's one of the big differences. Not that boys don't have some of that, but girls definitely won't let anyone rise above. Once you're in your place, they'll do anything to make sure you don't get out of it.
exactly. I mean, from personal experience, bullying. I've never gotten really bullied, but I've seen shit. I mean, guys they bully with their fists. You know, they beat your ass. Not really take. I've never seen somebody getting their lunch money taken. It's usually just books getting slapped out of their hands, shit like that. But girls, oh god, girls. They'll if you like wear the wrong thing, boy or girl, if you wear the wrong thing or you wear something that's shitty or cheap, they will strike you in the soft flesh. And they really struck, let's say, they really struck Corn Chip Girl in her soft flesh, so to speak.
Oh
they
yes.
they oh my god. But Spinelli sees this and I don't know why her I couldn't honestly say why her first reaction wouldn't be go to beat the shit out of the Ashleys, because that's kind of her thing. She's a very physical girl and she beats people up. That's what she's not a bully, but she will beat your ass type thing going on there. And I'm guessing I'm guessing from reading the whole thing that she had a certain, I don't know, it was like one of those situations where you see something that's horrible and that's weird and that's like very very like inappropriate, but you can't take your eyes off it kind of thing going on.
Yeah, a little shocking, a little bit like a train wreck. You just can't look
Yeah.
away. And also, she had her own little issues to deal with. Her own curiosities suddenly boiled to the surface. Maybe not so suddenly, but just things she'd never seen before struck her as intriguing, perhaps, as well as being a little severe.
And I can make connections with because what they basically do is they basically dominate the poor child. Well, I'm still not going to go into, and for those listening, I'm still not going to go into deep detail about like how they dominated her. They basically do horrible, horrible things and make the girl do horrible, horrible things. And Spinelli, I feel she sees this, and after the whole act is done and they leave, and the next day comes around, Spinelli has thought about on this, and she confronts Corn Chip Girl about it, and she herself, maybe not so abrupt in like physical way, starts experimenting herself with the Corn Chip Girl, and of course the Ashleys find out because how the hell would they not find out? Because Corn Chip Girl's a little fucking snitch. But they find out, and they like bring they try to bring her to. Would you say they bring her into the fray of things?
Well, the Ashley A, excuse me, the dominant Ashley A, definitely wants to bring Ashley Spinelli into the group, into the fold, and this is a perfect opportunity, preying on Spinelli's own fascinations and fears and anger. I think Spinelli was getting very angry with Corn Chip Girl during the story because, well, I want to help you tell on these girls who are abusing you, but you won't let me. What is wrong with you? And then it just sort of progressed from there. I think maybe that's how things,
Yeah.
one reason why things got in such a strange position as they did.
Boy, did things get strange. I mean, there's the final, I think the final little scene or act that happened involving, and I think it was I think it was kind of funny, a bit of kind of funny, the nickname that they had for Corn Chip Girl. I mean, it's not funny like in a ha ha way. You're not gonna laugh at it because it's horrible, but it was still kind of interesting how they gave her the name and then they show up the next day or they show up a bit later with the tool of torture.
Yeah, very appropriately themed tool. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. At least they were trying to be slick and funny about it. Um,
Well, if you're going to be mean and evil, you might as well at least have a sense of humor too.
yeah, you can't be just a boring evil person. You gotta be funny with it. Everybody's got to laugh. And what I found interesting is that a lot of the Ashleys, they were I felt a lot of peer pressure going into it. While the Ashleys, all of the Ashleys were into it. Some were more into it than the others. I mean, I think it was Ashley A. Was it Ashley A? Yeah, Ashley A. Yeah, pretty. I'm gonna go with Ashley A. Ashley A. was like seriously into it. I mean, even when like Spinelli and like maybe a few were looking at her in like in a certain way, like, oh, we're gonna go that far, are we? We're gonna go. I mean, like they were like, oh, we're still gonna be with you, but we're looking at you like, oh, you're really going to that length, and
Well,
it was quite interesting. I probably want to see like an epilogue for it, not epilogue, maybe a sequel to it to see into the life of Ashley A, why she is like that.
well, yeah, she's very interesting. She doesn't just want to push the limits; she wants to go beyond the limits. And the others, I think, are just as shocked as Spinelli was to see how far she would go. I was shocked. Very shocking story, wonderfully done, and and I think the end that Evil Fairy came up with, I think it fits very well. Now, maybe like you said, well, a sequel, maybe a prequel or something to explain it, but I think the whole thing stands on its own. I don't know if you could really expand on it without taking away from it. That's just my opinion.
Oh yeah. The story itself is yeah, I'm skeptic to say faptastical because faptastical doesn't really explain what the story is. This is not a story to figuratively fap to. I mean, I don't. Whenever I say faptastical, I don't mean literally go and fap to the story because that whatever you do when you do it is down to what you do, and it should be kept private. But this story is definitely a reader. You need to read this before you die type thing going on.
Oh,
It
yes.
will. It's one of those childhood killing, wonderfully epic stories, and
Very
it's
awe-inspiring, very powerful.
very sad.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Very sad too. Death of Innocence. You know, Spinelli learns a lot about herself, loses some of her childhood wonder in the process.
and she's stuck with this. She's stuck with this horrible secret that will definitely eat at her for the rest of her life. It might fade into memory like a lot of our childhood things. Like whenever we do anything bad or horrible in our childhood, we do our best to try to forget it as we get older. But no, she's gonna remember this for a while.
Oh, this is a permanent emotional scar, definitely.
And don't we just love our emotional scars? Or I think,
Nevertheless, the
huh?
only scars that aren't fun to show off.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think as we as people, I think why this story is so hit me so hard and hits so popular is the fact that we as people like to see other people in anguish. And we don't want to admit that, but we as people love that shit. We eat that shit up. That's what we go and watch our fucking Jerry Springers and watch our fucking. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting shit to us because we find enjoyment out of other people's sorrow. That's what comedy and shit's all about. And this is something that it's full of anguish. It's full of like, sadness. It's full of dark, but it's a very interesting thing, and it brings people in and holds people and takes them on a journey of horribly darkness.
Self-discovery of some very awful things about yourself.
Exactly. It's like some people might read this and they might apply this to things that have happened to them or things that they've seen or been passengers to and then never have the metal to stop it or step in or be more than just a bystander. But it's not just about the meat of the situation of what they do. It brings light to the fact that people get like bullied all the time, and there's other people that are around, other people that see, but they will not step in. They will not help. You know, they'll be conflicted, and they'll be sad about it, but they won't really help. And when something horrible happens, or somebody or the person's getting bullied ends up killing themselves or something crazy like that, they feel horrible about it. You know, it's
Well, I
just
think part of it is that you see someone being picked on a lot, and you say to themselves, you want to help, but then you say, well, if they really don't deserve my help, they really should learn how to handle this themselves. Otherwise, we'll have to save them all the time. And then even after a point, you say, "Wow, I'm sick of this person getting picked on." You get angry at the victim for not doing something about it. And even if, especially if you've offered to help someone, if you go up and say, "Hey, I can help you deal with this. I can go with you to whoever we need to tell. I can, stop it with my fist if I have to," and the person refuses, then it's like really just so frustrating. I can understand that it's very real. I think it's very real. It's a very real life situation that plays out in the story in that way.
Would you say that this story is one of your favorites coming from Evil Fairy?
Um, I'd have to go down the list. I'm very bad about picking out favorites. Evil Fairy is my favorite author, but she has so many good ones, so much terrific work that it's really, I couldn't just off the cuff say which is my favorite. I'd have to really think hard about that one.
Oh man. Well, I will say that this isn't within my top 10. I think most memorable fan fiction one shots or long shots that I've read. I mean, there have been some memorable ones. There have been, but they're always in obscure fandoms too, like fandoms that aren't really as popular. Like Recess, like the Recess fandom. I don't even know what I was doing in the Recess section of adult fan fiction. I think I was just looking, just browsing, just saying, "Fuck it, I can't find nothing new, so I'm gonna go look at some old stuff and see what I find." And I found this and discovered it was amazing, and it is amazing. And people out there need to read this. They need to go click. People who watch this in the future need to click on that link into the story and read this, because this is one of those things that need to be read. I mean, needs to be read. Sorry. Whew. It leaves an impact on you, like makes you want to say like, damn, just close.
You'll feel like you've been punched in the chest when you're done with it. But you'll say, "Damn, was that good? Was that a good punch in the chest?"
I know. And actually, I read the story three or four times. I've like had people, I've sent this story to people like, "Hey, you need to read this," and they read it and they're like, "God damn, that's just." I mean, it's just it's just I'm not gonna tell you what, because one of the biggest little point in the plot is it kind of like builds around the story. I don't want to ruin that, because then the story gets up. I don't want to ruin it. It's like the best scene of a movie, It's the scene in the story. It's the peak of the story where it differentiates from, oh, just another story, to, oh, this is some amazing shit. It's a really amazing thing. I can probably gush about the story for the next fucking hour, 2 hours, going to the intricacies of breaking it down and like word from word, scene from scene, how it fits the writing style and what kind of writing style it is. And I could just go on that forever, but we cannot do that, because this is the showcase. This must be in a appropriate, proper timeline. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, definitely.
We have to.
We have to leave people time to actually go read the story.
Exactly. People need to read the story. So we need to be hopefully we were as convincing as possible to make people want to go read this story. They need to go read this story. I mean, go read this story.
The link will be in the show notes.
Exactly. If I could like literally like hypnotize people into reading the story, I would do that by the sound of my voice. Go read this fucking story. I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna watch this. You're gonna listen to this. You're gonna go check your fucking emails. You're gonna go watch your porn. You're gonna do whatever it is that you do late at night or do during the day when there's nobody around. When you're reading or watching this, you need to go read that story. Take the time to go read that story. Do it now. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This has been another good episode, I feel. This is just the second episode of the showcase,
Yes, it's just too bad we're trying to avoid the spoilers, very importantly so. But there's so much nitty gritty I'd like to get into about, the meaning of even innocuous things have a little meaning to them, and there's just so much going on. I wouldn't say it's like 10 different levels, but there's definitely very well thought out. There's some thoughtful metaphors in there too. And you don't have to really see them or know what they are to really enjoy the story still. But it's just nice that it's layered. It's very thoughtful, along with being just freaking awesome.
Exactly. So would you say 5 stars?
5 stars.
5 stars? Not that maybe. Yeah, 5 stars. I can't. I wouldn't be right for me to call this story faptastical, but it is a faptacular story. It's very faptacular, not faptastical. Because faptastical, that's like, oh, because you won't technically. I don't think, depending on what the type of person you are, if you're into certain kind of things, you might get some kind of reaction in the nether regions to this story. But otherwise, this is just one of those stories where it's like, oh Jesus Christ, I just read this. But it is faptacular. I want to say it's fantastic. It's faptacular. It is awesome, and I give it a 5 star, and it will get 5 stars. And that is that.
Sounds good to me.
Bring the hammer down. This has been an excellent episode. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Fairy, for being on here because you are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's just such a helpful. Did you before we go? Did you help her proofread this or at all, or was this?
Yes, back in 2011, I did proofread one of the copies. Actually, that's the one I just reviewed before coming on air, but I know it didn't change too much after that, as far as I can remember. Usually I keep a final copy of the story, too. I just didn't have one handy. I could have just gone to the website, I suppose, too, but I don't know. I wanted to see my old notes.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I just want to thank you for being here again. I would love to have you on this showcase because your input is amazing and the way you go into in depth about things. Because I want to be honest with you, I'm not the best critic in the world. I'm never. Oh, there's my phone. Hopefully you can't hear it, but I'm not the best critic in the world. I don't really strive to be. I'm very hard when it comes to summarizing other people's things, but I'm just glad you could be here to help.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right. Well. Thanks guys. Thanks viewers and listeners that are out there. We got one viewer. That's good. That's good. I didn't have any viewers, I think, last episode. So we got one viewer. It's great. Hopefully I know this thing's not gonna explode. I'm not gonna have 100,000 views like fucking PewDiePie or some shit like that because I'm not gonna do what PewDiePie does. I'm not gonna go into that much. It can work, but I just want to thank you for being here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. This has been a good episode. Second episode, hopefully a mini. And after this video uploads, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna add some pictures to it, so you're not just looking at the Hangout screen. And hopefully it works out great. So thanks you guys for being here. This has been Fairy Slayer and Marcus BC, and thanks a lot.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.